and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to another edition of the Sunday Rise. This is the Sideline Junkies Podcast Network. We are the Sideline Junkies. He is the Gentleman Jack. I am the Midnight Rider. That is the big guy KG. Coming to you live and direct on another Sunday morning. And this Sunday morning, we got some things to recap. We're going to recap the NBA playoffs. We're going to recap a little NHL. We're going to talk about some things going on in the world of baseball. We got to talk about, because we're going Harry Stanford deep on the Orioles today. We're going to jump into some of the numbers behind the numbers to help you wonder about the struggles of the O's. And with that being said, I'm going to turn this thing over to our show's host, the big guy, KG.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Sunday Rise. As you can see, scrolling at the bottom, you can see and hear us on YouTube. So hit that like and subscribe button. You can listen to us on the Odyssey app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Pretty much anywhere you listen to or stream music, you can hear the Sideline Junkies. And with that being said, let's start it off right. Gentlemen, how y'all feeling this morning?
I'm good, baby. Let's go. Let's get this thing going.
Oh, I'm good.
All right, let's start this thing off right. First and foremost, this was a shock. The T-Wolves beat the Thunder 143-101, largest defeat in OKC Thunder history. For the Thunder, Jalen Williams gave you 13. Chet Holmgren gave you 10. Hartenstein gave you 6, 6, and 0. And Midnight Rider, what is that?
A triple single, baby.
SGA gave you 14. Lou Dort gave you 6. Mitchell gave you 14. And they got Dylan Jones off the bench with 10. For the T-Wolves, Julius Randle gave you 24. McDaniels gave you 10. Gobert gave you 7 and 7 and 2. And Midnight Rider, what is that?
Sounds like a triple single to me.
That's what it is. Anthony Edwards gave you 30 and 9. Naz Reid gave you 10. Alexander Walker gave you 12. And Shannon gave you 15. And Leonard Miller gave you 11. So they got a lot of production from everybody. Team-wise, the Thunder shot 40% from the field, 31% from behind the line, but 89% from the free throw line, 17 and 19. That's pretty damn good in my book. For the T-Wolves, they shot 57% from the floor, 50% from behind the line, but 76% from behind off the charity stripe. They out-rebounded the Thunder 50-31. Thunder had 14 turnovers to the T-Wolves 10, and the T-Wolves had 56 points in the paint to the Thunder's 42. Jack, what you think about this game?
Well, Minnesota just came out ready to rumble. Minnesota came out on 34-14 first quarter. 14 points in the first quarter, boy. That's some defense right there. But OKC was missing a few shots early. They just couldn't get out the gate, the Thunder. They just couldn't get no jelly to go with that peanut butter, as people say. And Minnesota beat Indy every quarter after that. So do I think Indy's going to shoot 57% again? I don't know. That's a damn good shooting night, especially being 50% from three-pointers. They was 20 out of 40. They came out the gate, and OKC had nothing for them in their first and second quarter. And by then, the lead was too damn big. And the rebounds were dominated by Minnesota. And Minnesota got them on the offensive boards too, KG. So I think they out-rebounded them on the offensive boards by 6 or 7, if I recall. And that's an extra 12 to 20 points right there you can get out of 6 more opportunities. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel Minnesota came out the way they meant to come out, in the first couple games, but OKC just couldn't handle that early rush on and never could catch back up. So that's what I saw from that game. Midnight Rider, how about you?
This is the way of this new NBA, man. There's a thing where it feels like either you go out and you get started early and you blow somebody out, or you come back late. But it doesn't feel like we have good basketball games all the way through from stem to stern or stern to whatever, from the from the neck down to the gut, whatever it is, however you want to call it. We don't get 4 quarters of good basketball. We get a blowout early, and then maybe somebody comes back late in the last 5 minutes, like the Pacers have done, like the Knicks did against the Celtics, all that stuff. And that's the problem I have with what's going on right now. I mean, this 143 to 101, they got out early. Thunder never came back. It was never competitive. It's just indicative of what we've seen the whole playoffs. We don't get quality games, as many quality games as we should. We just get games now. And maybe that's because these teams shoot so many threes that you can't get a consistency off of that. And they don't have anything that holds them to their grind, which would only be like getting the two, you know what I'm saying? Those easy twos down low in the post keep you scoring consistently. But because we shoot so many threes, it's like you have these ebbs and flows, and they're so vast and different that's where we get a problem at. That's where we get these disjointed ball games. And it's crazy because we get terrible games out of this playoff series that we shouldn't get in game 2 of the playoffs when involving 2 of the best teams, or the supposed 2 best teams in the conference. We shouldn't have 143-101. Shouldn't happen. Shouldn't be our thing.
You're exactly right, dude. It's like they get down by, say, 12, 15, and then they start jacking threes, and that's 6 more possessions. They ain't getting no points. I understand. Yeah. Definitely right.
And we are joined by none other than the boss, BJ.
BJ.
Good morning, fellas. I just wanted to stop in here and let y'all hear my pretty voice, man. How y'all doing this morning?
That's all you did, man. We good. We could have done without that.
Nah. You need that in your life. You need that. I'm just I wanted to let you guys know, but I was listening to y'all talk about the T-Wolves and the Thunder. I just want to say I saw the same thing. It's like once they get down by that 10, 15, 20, if the threes don't work, it's like they give up. You know, because the threes can get you right back in the game. You know, we saw Indiana come back against New York that first game, and it's just like if it don't work, they like, oh, the hell with it. We'll come back next game, and it kills it because you can see the potential if you get a full 100% from both teams. You can kind of see what these games would be like. But you're not really getting that, and it's like you should get that in the conference finals. You know, I can understand the first round and the play-in. The conference finals, you should get 100% effort on both ends, even if you're down by 20, because we've seen magic happen. It's playoffs, so you know, coming up, we'll see some desperation games because you know the Knicks are down 2-0. So I don't want to go too far ahead of you guys.
All right.
Nah, you right on point.
Comment real quick. Rick Peacock joining us. A blowout early and an implosion late. Terrible games. It seemed like that's happening an awful lot where teams get up and then the other team just implodes. And when we get to the next game, I tell you my sentiments on that. But Tim Creamer said, "What up, cuz?" and good night, and Midnight Rider. My dogs, girl.
What's up, cuz?
Speaking of the next game, I thought this series was gonna go totally different, but it did not. Pacers 114, Knicks 109. For the Pacers, Naismith 12 points, Siakam 39, Miles Turner 16, Nembhard 12, Halliburton 14, McConnell 10. For the Knicks, Anunoby 16, Josh Hart only 6, Karl Anthony Towns 20, Bridges 20, Brunson 36, and not much. They got 11 points off the bench, 6 from Robinson and 5 from McBride. The Pacers shot 51% from the floor, 43% behind the line, 71% from the free throw. The Knicks shot 47% from the floor, 34% from behind the arc, and 85% from the line. They out-rebounded the Pacers 38-32. The Pacers had 10 turnovers compared to the Knicks 12. And the Pacers had 48 points in the paint compared to the Knicks 44. Friday night, I was all over the world on one of my many jobs. And I was telling Dario, he was giving me updates. And I was just like, come on, Knicks, get up. Fight back. Fight back. Y'all got to fight back. But it ain't happened. So, Gentleman Jack, what you think about this game?
Well, New York, they're just not able to put Indy away, man. Indiana, Siakam 39. We've seen it before, but it's just not his everyday go-to type of game. I wish he would be more consistent. If he was, I feel Indiana would be a stronger team. Halliburton did above and beyond. Just had 14 points, but 11 assists and 8 rebounds, so he was in the paint, snagging boards. Brunson just can't do it all for this Knicks team. I feel Indy wanted it more, and I feel Indy wants this series more. My pick was the Knicks in 6. I don't know, man. It's not going the way I thought it would for New York. What was it? Game 1, I believe. Midnight Riders guy, little kitty, was on the bench the whole fourth quarter, or most of it. There are. So they got to be consistent. Hart, he didn't have that great of a game. And Anunoby, he's not going to see 30 again this playoffs, but they still got to chip in for 12 and 15s, So I don't know if Brunson has enough help to be able to come out of this hole. I look to see Brunson put 40 up today. So what you got, Midnight Ryan?
You kind of share my sentiments, but the only difference is I think I said this when the series began, that Indiana has enough depth and they get scoring from a lot of places. They get multiple people scoring for them. And it may not be 20, but they get enough guys that chip in 10, 15. They get a 13 here. And the problem is you get a guy like Siakam. He blew up last night or a couple nights ago. You had Nesmith blow up with his 8 for 9. You just keep getting these performances from the guys that they are the fringe guys. It's not the Halliburtons. It's not the main guys that are scoring. It's the ancillary guys that are giving them points and giving them big games. It's not like they're giving you 12. They're giving you 39. They give you 20. They give you 30. And that's the difference in the series. It really is the side, the background. Their pips are better than their tops. Their temptations are better than their shot lights. However you want to call it. Harold Melvin, whatever you want, whatever group you want to name, their backup singers are better than New York's backup singers right now. And that's how this playoff series is playing out. And I know KG going to say something about this. Go ahead.
The temps is better than the shot lights. Damn. Well, I mean, right is right, but you and when I say right is right, you're absolutely right. The Pacers had 14 from Halliburton, but Halliburton wasn't a high man. He's the star of the team, and he wasn't a high man. He had 14 and 11, but you got 39 from Siakam, and they say, well, that's why we brought Siakam here for just that right there.
Jermaine Jackson.
Yeah. And then the Knicks, I hit it. Josh Hart may not start game 3. They thinking about putting somebody else in that starting position and bringing him off the bench. But somebody put up a video and said, you know why Tibbs don't take the starters out in the fourth quarter, and it was just a really really bad possession by the Knicks. And they forced a 3 as the shot clock was winding down with no ball movement. And the shot didn't even hit the rim. It went over the backboard. I said, yeah, if you playing like that, it's not going to work.
Well, I heard Tibbs is going to mix up the starting lineup today.
which he should.
I think they said something about a possibility of Robinson or McBride going into the starting lineup.
I
Yeah,
would start.
it
I'd
was.
stop
I couldn't
Robinson.
remember which one it was.
I think it's going to be Robinson because I mean, shit, he playing 39. I mean, he playing 30 minutes already. So I don't know what they're going to do, but sometimes mix up helps, man. So yeah, they got to right that ship because they don't want to go down 3-0 today. That'll be not night.
That'll be the worst thing that can happen because what you've only had one team come back from 3-0 to win a series. That's no man's land. That's death. That's what that is. I know where we going next.
Hold on, before we get off of this game, I think there's another issue for the Knicks, and that's it's all they need Towns. The big kitty gotta come in the yard. He can't keep pooping in his little box. He gotta make some things happen on the floor. And I mean, he's had some impact, but he's supposed to dominate this series. It should be him and Brunson against the world. They should be dominating, and everything else should happen after that or off of that. And that's where New York is struggling.
Well,
I don't know. I mean, Towns had 20, Bridges had 20, and Brunson had 36. I don't feel that the Towns was sleeping. I mean,
I don't either, but
he didn't give you 28 or nothing, but he's not shitting the bed.
I'm not saying he's not shitting the bed. He's shitting the bed. I'm saying he needs to be a big dog. This is when he has to be a superstar. 20 is good for okay guy, but if you want to be a star, stars shine bright, especially at midnight. But we ain't gonna talk about that.
That's hard to get shots when you got Brunson on your team, though, man.
I feel you with that too.
I'm gonna say this, and I think both of you guys are right. Number one, Jack said it's hard to get shots of Brunson on your team. It is. It is. If we looked at his shot chart just for this series alone, I'm guaranteeing he's taking more shots than any other player. That's number one. Number two, what Midnight Rider said, I said it at the beginning of the series that Karl Anthony Towns can't play like a little kitty cat. He can't play like a kitten. He got to play like a big cat. He got to play like a tiger or a lion. He got the roar. He can't roar. He got the roar. He can't go, oh my God. No, you better be like, oh my God.
Oh, did y'all see that video?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think Towns needs to assert himself a little bit more in the paint and down low because he's not getting no rebounds because he's out there spotting up for three.
Exactly.
So, he gave us near 20 rebounds earlier in the playoffs. I think he needs to get back to that guy. And then he'd be fine with 20 points, 22 points if he's giving you 18, 20 boards. So I feel Towns needs to be more assertive down low. Stop hanging out behind the stripe.
I agree with that.
Well, guys, I'm hoping I still don't have technical difficulties. I had to come through another channel, a secret channel that only I have access to. It's like a tunnel. Don't you know what I'm saying? But let me tell you this. I think after that game one with the Knicks, I think this Knicks team has 90s Buffalo Bill syndrome, where they're playing so it doesn't go wrong. That's how they seem like they're playing now. They're not playing to win. After that collapse game one, that whole Tyrese Halliburton doing the Reggie Miller choke, Reggie there, that whole just the air that went out of that balloon at MSG. I think they're playing scared. I really think because it's not the Knicks team that was playing before. And it's like this. I mean, of course, they're down 2-0, and it's a crucial game for so many reasons. But this is really, I know we say it a lot in these type of games. This is really a make and break game for the Knicks as a whole. To kind of see if this is a team that can be salvaged or do they have to find something else. They need like Brunson giving you 36. I mean, I know I think KG said their bench only had 11, but we're in the conference finals. The bench can have 11. You need your boys on the floor to produce. They need to have Hart can't have single digits. They have to produce big games. Like I said, we're not in the plan anymore. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they respond tonight in Indiana.
But they benched the bench. They didn't go that deep the other night. They
And
only
they're not
really went.
supposed to. Yeah, they're
They
not
really only
supposed
went
to.
7 deep. I
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
but 11 points out of 2 guys ain't as bad as you thinking 11 points out of 4 guys.
Exactly, and like we've seen it in teams past. You get deeper in the playoffs, and you get to that 6, 7, 8 man rotation. That's all you get, and your superstars run the show, and that's how
Mm-hmm.
it's supposed. They might get a 30-second break, the TV timeout every now and again, but
Mm-hmm.
if you are one of the main keys, so what is it for New York? It's Brunson, Hart, and Towns. Y'all got to run it. You know what I'm saying? You can't be looking. It's your show, and a lot of these guys. This is their first time in a situation like this, and you get to see if that meat stink when you put it to the fire, and it's starting to stink a little bit. You're starting to ask, man, who left this steak out? This steak ain't as good as we thought it is. So
Well, believe it or not, Makai Bridges played the most minutes last night for the Knicks. He played 45 minutes. He played, what's that, 3 minutes less than a whole game.
yeah,
So he left it all out there. It was Hart that needed to pick it up a little bit, I thought, for the Knicks last night. But it could have been, it could have been on Robinson, could have been on McBride. They just aren't closing out the game, and that's not like the Knicks this year. Knicks been pretty good at closing cats out before it came to the playoffs.
I don't know. The Knicks they're already up against the wall, but I don't know. And I had them picked to win it all. This may be a 7-game series. Who knows? They're down 2-0 now. Maybe they win the next 2 in Indiana,
Well, they
come back
gotta
home
win.
and still these are must-win games.
Gotta win.
And I hate excuse me. I hate the term must win, but this is must win. This is when you got to use that term because it's must win. Because if you don't win, they're going to sweep you. It ain't gonna be no gentleman's sweep. It's gonna be a sweep the correct way.
Yeah.
So, next up, Jack, you said you wanted to do this. Now I'm gonna throw this to you. You said you wanted to give
Mm-hmm.
Novak Djokovic his flowers.
You got to, man. You got to. But hold on, I got sugar-free creamer in my mouth, and I don't drink that. Wife got me on that one. She probably didn't even notice. But yeah, it tastes
oh
like.
no, she knew what she was doing. She trying to
Oh,
get you
shut up,
switched
BJ.
over.
Shut up, BJ. She know I don't like that saccharine taste. It tastes like saccharine. Ugh, it's nasty. But yeah, in the tennis world, Novak Djokovic has reached 100 men's singles titles. That's an amazing number. There's only 2 guys ahead of him that have ever had 100 singles titles, and that was Jimmy Connors with 109 and Roger Federer with 103, and then Djokovic with 100 and Nadal with 92. But the next closest to Djokovic that's active is 25 wins. So it goes to show
Wow.
you how important that number is and what an accomplishment it is. And then, career Grand Slams, he already owns the record for that with 24. Nadal has 22. Federer has 20. That's impressive because this is kind of like a group that came up together. They kind of beat all the McEnroe and Connors records and stuff like that. But if you look to the women's singles titles, Okay. You got 3 guys in the men's that are over 100, and that's it. But in the women's, the number 1 number of singles wins is Navratilova with 167. And then Chrissy Everett with 154. And then the next closest is Steffi Graf at 107, which ain't nothing to sneeze at. But it goes to show how much Navratilova and Everett dominated, man. Because Serena Williams, she's only got 73, and Billie Jean King's only got 67. That shows you the dominance of players like Connors, Federer, Djokovic, Navratilova, Everett, and Steffi Graf. And a small story about Steffi Graf. My wife's grandfather used to coach Steffi Graf down in, is it Delray? I think it was Delray down in Florida. And he used to, whenever he come up to Maryland, he'd start to talking with people and say, "You ever watch tennis?" And, people going to be like, "Yeah, I know tennis." He's like, "Yeah, I coach Steffi Graf." He would tell everybody. It was cool, man. I loved hearing it from the guy. And, we all got a little bit of tennis in us. I was a big Jimmy Connors guy growing up. Who'd you follow, Midnight Rider, growing up?
Growing up,
Growing up.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if I had a guy in tennis. I know who I didn't like. I didn't like Andy Roddick.
Oh.
I used to call him Mana Kournikova because I thought he was the man version of Anna Kournikova, who was highly overrated and all about their looks. So, and it's funny you brought up Djokovic today because Djokovic was one of my guys. I liked him early in his career, and he made me mad at a certain point because he would get in the majors, he'd be in contention, and he'd be up 2-1, ended up losing in 5. He did that. He used to do that all the time early in his career, and I just got tired of it. I was like, you know what? I'm not rooting for this guy no more. And I swear to goodness, the very next tournament, he won that next Grand Slam, and just went on the road ever since. So it's crazy. I love Nadal. I like Tiafoe. Another guy I don't like is Gael Monfils, because Gael Monfils is probably one of the best athletes in tennis, but because he likes to showboat and he doesn't just do the simple stuff sometimes. If he just kept his game simple sometimes, I think he'd actually challenge for a major. Instead, he's out by the quarterfinals, and it blows my mind that someone that gifted and that talented with a racket, he can win all the dinosaurs and the Campbell Soup cups he wants, but he just can't win a Grand Slam because he just doesn't get out of the quarters, and it's only because he just doesn't take it seriously. It seems like. But he's probably the most gifted tennis player on the thing. When you talked earlier about the women, and you talked about Navratilova with 176, Everett with 154, Graf with 1 something. I wonder where Monica Seles would be on this list if she didn't have her incident. I also think women's tennis is top heavy, like women's college basketball used to be. I thought the Navratilovas, the Everetts were just that much better than the Arantxa Sanchez, that next group. There was that big gap, and I think that's why they dominated. And I think that's why Serena only had 70, because she didn't play in a lot of tournaments. She played a controlled schedule. B, when Serena was coming along, you had the blips on the radar. I can't think of her name now. Is it Davenport, maybe?
Lindsay Davenport.
Yeah, Lindsay Davenport.
Yeah, so she had her little blip. A couple other players had their blips on the schedule. So it kind of hindered Serena from totally dominating the scene. Plus, she had her sister. So they would kind of split, and they would alternate on and off sometimes too. So I think Serena would have that 160, 170 mark if she didn't have to fight her sister and those peaks of certain people who hit a peak and then they disappeared and left the face of the earth.
Okay. Well, that guy, that Tiafoe, that's Riverdale right there.
Yeah.
Straight out of
I t-
Riverdale.
I tell y'all real quick, that Pete Sampras ace made me fall in love with tennis.
Mm.
I remember watching
No,
him dominate Wimbledon, and his ace. I was just like, I don't. That is amazing. Of course, we've seen it. I'm just talking about kind of getting into tennis for the first time, watching nobody be able to return that, watching how quick he did it. Um, I think, we talked about tennis on this show before. I think one of the more unique things about tennis, you get to watch. I don't want to say the torch being passed. It has to be. I feel like it has to be taken in tennis, because, like the Midnight Rider said, you watching Nadal lose in for years, get to the finals, and I believe it was the Joker, right? He kept losing to, and he finally beat him. And then once he beat him, it was like the ocean opened up for him. He couldn't be stopped. And you seen the rise and fall of Sampras. You've seen these guys that it gets to them finals, and whoever's on top, they have to take it from them. I love that about tennis. I think they have that uniquely to them. You used to see it in like basketball and the older style, leagues, like 20 years ago. It ain't really like that now. I think it's still like that in tennis, where you got to take that baton from whoever's on the top. And I think it's just, having the experience, being in certain situations, and just kind of building that mental fortitude to get past that. I love that about tennis. But Pete Sampras was my favorite.
but if you look at Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic coming up, Nadal dominated clay, Federer dominated Wimbledon, and Djokovic usually did it more on the synthetic courts and the clay. Joker was good on the clay too. Them two, Nadal and Djokovic, in the French, have battled many times, and I think that's my. I like Wimbledon, 4th of July, Wimbledon, but that clay, that French Open is a different game with all that sliding and carrying on. You get the balls that you really don't get to on the grass in that. So,
Roland Garros,
uh,
baby.
yeah.
And it's a whole different bounce too. There's a whole you from that
Mhm.
grass to that clay, the synthetic. If you start watching tennis, you're getting into it. You can just tell the difference in how the game has to be played on those different surfaces.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
there's also that gap. So it was like kind of like Nadal and um, Federer were dominating early, um, and then probably in the last 5 years, Djokovic started to come into his own greatness. I probably say more than that. I probably say like the last 8 years, he came into his greatness and started dominating on his side of the ledger. And I think that's exactly speaking to what BJ's talking about, how it goes from the next person to the next person. And then I think there's a cat that's 21 right now. I want to say his name is Carlos Ferreira, that won that beat Djokovic in Wimbledon, and then he beat somebody else in the U.S. Open. I
Oh
think
yes, yes, yes,
I think he's the next guy. You know what I'm saying? He's the next dominant
yes.
guy, and then after that, we don't know. The problem we have now
Mhm.
on the women's side is we don't have a dominant person. We don't have a top dog on the women's side. We thought it was going to be Osaka, but her mental health issues and other things have kept her from being dominant. So I think now on the women's side, you go into a tournament, it's fair game for anybody. And
Yeah,
it
I
doesn't
don't
matter
feel.
if it's tops and anything.
And
I don't
Yeah,
have a person.
I'm sorry. Is that I wanted to ask? Do y'all think that's a good thing, where you coming in somewhere and you're not expecting um, a certain person to win, so a certain person I favorite is kind of wide open? Do you think that's and we're talking about the tennis? Is that better for tennis, or do you need two or three top people that are favored to win? Like, you go into golf, you got your names expected to win. Men's side, you got your names expected to win. Is this a good thing, or do they need somebody to be the face?
Yo, that's a great question. Because I'm sitting here as you're asking that, and I'm trying to go through the list of the young ladies and who would be the top lady right now, and I really
well,
don't know.
Coco Golf didn't really climb like she was supposed to a top perch in the tennis world. I feel she's just hanging out there like in the top 10. And then I think that Wozniak girl, I don't think she's playing no more. She was top 10. But you're right. I don't, since Serena got out, I don't see any dominating tennis players. But yet, I'm not your tennis people to be saying that. But from what I'm seeing in the news, I haven't noticed anybody on the
There,
women's side.
there isn't a dominant person, but I like BJ's question because it's asking, do you want the parity or do you want the stars?
Somebody's going to step ahead of others eventually, man. It's going to
Right.
happen.
Exactly. And I
Inevitable.
think we're sitting on the precipice of somebody dictating those terms, and I think it's Coco. And I think the problem for Coco is she also got on the scene very young.
She needs more age, yes.
She might be 19 by now.
Mhm.
I don't know for sure. Don't quote me on that, KG. If you want to look that up, but
I got it.
I think her age is part of the reason why she hasn't like completely taken over because I think she's still growing to her body. I think she's a tall, lanky tennis player. So sometimes you got to find yourself in your game as a tennis player being her height. I think she's played very well and she had her ups, but I think her ebbs and flows come from her still growing into her body.
21 years old.
Okay.
Can we take this time to
And she's the number 2
associate-
ranked.
Go ahead, Jack. You said number 2?
She's number 2 ranked tennis player in the world right now.
I was
Number
saying
1 in doubles.
take this time to appreciate what it takes to achieve a level of greatness where you separate yourself from the pack. And right now, what we have in women's tennis is just we have rush hour. Everybody's stuck. Everybody's trying to get on the same exit, and you don't have that Ferrari. You don't have that C8 Corvette that's going to run on the shoulder, break the rules, and get ahead of the pack. And I'm not saying these ladies aren't great, but it just takes another gear. And we've seen this with the greats in all the sports. It just takes a level of dedication, determination, and willing to step on a couple people next to get to that next level. And it's going to be interesting to see which one of these ladies come forth and do that.
Yeah, I don't see the
Well,
lady.
I'll say this. You talked about who you
Go
liked
ahead,
and
Jay.
growing up. I was an Agassi and Michael Chang fan. And Andre Agassi, I always said once Andre Agassi cut his hair, it's like he lost his power. He's like Samson, but he had to cut it because he was losing it in the top. But he was a dominant force. Michael Chang was quiet, and I used to like to call him the silent assassin because he didn't say much, but he just won. And I love watching those guys play. And then on the women's side, it was Navratilova and Steffi Graf. You know, and I ain't gonna lie, I was young. I thought she was pretty goddamn good, but Annika Sorenstam, not Annika Sorenstam. God, the one that married the hockey player. God, what's her name?
Kornikova?
Yeah, Anna Kournikova.
Mm-hmm.
I was all into her. Like every time she did a layout in Sports Illustrated, I had that. Whew, I had that. Look, you got to go to the stacks and you ain't see what she did? You go to the stacks and you pull that magazine out. Oh my goodness.
All right, fellas. I got the women's rankings right here in front of me. I don't know how I'm going to pronounce half these names, but there is a Irina. You know how bad I am with this. Sabalenka, and then Coco Gauff, and then Jessica Peluga from USA. Paolini from Italy.
That's
Poland.
Peluga, I believe. Isn't that the daughter or granddaughter of the Pelugas that own Buffalo Bills?
I don't think so. This lady's name is Paolini.
Nah, it's not the same. Okay.
Right. And then there's a Emma Navarro from the United States, a Madison Keys from the United States. So we got some girls up in the top 10 from the U.S. But like I say, Coco Gauff it's probably the only name I recognize on here. So the men's top 10. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, no, just think about it. A year from now, if we continue to talk tennis, Polini or Pulaga, whatever that name was, it'll turn into your Draisaitl. Because last year you couldn't say Draisaitl at all. So
so yeah. Me and foreign names, man. I struggle, I ain't gonna lie. On the men's side, I forgot about this guy. You got this guy, Jay Sinner. Then you got Alcaraz, who I think is one of the best out there.
That's what I thought. That's what I was thinking about.
And the number 3 guy, man, I ain't even trying that one. Number 4 is Fritz, a United States guy. Number 5 is Draper. That's another good men's tennis player. So that's what I had on that. Oh, and Djokovic is number 6.
Well, he should be at this point in his career.
You're right. That's what I was going to say. He has declined a little bit, but when you put in that many rounds on the court, yeah, he like I say, if he retired tomorrow, I don't think he'd have a problem. He's had a stellar career.
And I really think if it wasn't for Nadal's legs, I think Nadal could have given you another 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
If we talking about what ifs too, and you gotta give this man his credit, Boris Becker. If he didn't play in the time he played with the guys he played, he has a respectable. I'm trying to remember. I think he has to have like 6 or 7 Grand Slams, I believe. But you talking about the needle in the haystack. We always talk about the guys that Jordan denied championships. Of course we can say if certain guys weren't there, he probably would have had 10, 15 of those things.
Man, are we about to get into like a roulette of tennis names? Because I can drop Mats.
I'm good.
You know what I'm saying? I can drop Mats Wilander if we want to keep going with names, dog. Especially from the 80s and the 90s.
Man, between y'all 3, y'all done pulled out some names I ain't heard in a while.
We can go with Von Lindell.
Boris Becker has 6 Grand Slams.
Yeah, I like him too. No, my wife's family, they're a tennis family, like I said. So I hear it from them all the time.
He didn't even play in the 2000s. He retired in 99.
Yeah, I think he was another guy with injuries and some other stuff that got him. But it's funny you say that, Jack, because I got into tennis because like Nintendo basically introduced me to all sports. And then the beauty of tennis was Sunday morning at around 10 o'clock, you get the men's finals for Wimbledon. And then on Saturday mornings, most of the time it was the women's. And back then, I ain't had ESPN back then. You know what I'm saying? I had 4, 5, 7, 9, 20, 26, 50, and 54. So you ain't had many channel choices.
Wimbledon was usually on network TV, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was on Channel 4.
I was going to say, yeah.
You see Wimbledon, you see them give out the trophies at like 12 o'clock p.m. They do the interviews. And that's really how I got into tennis.
Yeah, same here. It was Wimbledon.
They had to put tennis on in the morning because everybody else was watching basketball and baseball during the day. So they put that on before.
No, it was also the time difference.
Yeah, the time difference.
True that.
The time difference. So
but now it's. Go ahead, V.
No, I was saying, I KG, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe when we were down working at ESPN Zone, that opened early for Wimbledon.
Yes.
And then overnight for soccer, because of the time differences.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
When I tell you, packed, people are here 6, 7 o'clock in the morning drinking beer. And I'm not talking about 5, 6 people. I'm talking about, if you remember ESPN Zone DC, first, second level packed, watching tennis.
No, you know what, dog? That's around the time that I was out in that's when the USA they were playing in the World Cup.
Oh my goodness.
And all their games were like 5 a.m.
Yes, packed.
Because that stretch. So I used to get off work, go to Mario's, get me a sandwich, take a nap, wake up. Actually, no, I didn't wake up. I'd still be up because I was drinking and partying. I was having a good ass time. Me and Crown Royal, and I'd watch the soccer match or a game, whatever you want to call it, sneak in some sleep, and then go to work at. I used to have to be at work at like 12 or 11. No, I used to have to be at 1. When I worked that shit, it was 1 to 11. I'd get off, hit Mario's, and then it was crazy times, man. It was good times. I loved it. But that World Cup, I watched every one of the men's games that year because it was on TV. And again, like Jack and I always say, it's special when you get to watch the best of the best play the best of the best. And I don't care what the sport is.
And that goes back to my point of why I think we're so disappointed at what we're seeing in the NBA conference finals, because this is supposed to be the best of the best. This is supposed to be the best of the best, clawing, fighting, scraping, bad blood. Y'all talk after the conference finals. But right now, this is do or die. And that we just not seeing that. We grew up watching that. We grew up, and don't get me wrong, after, Mike put these people out the playoffs, and after he was finished, they were at a steakhouse chilling. But during that time, don't talk to me. Don't do anything. We are enemies on this court. And it's just, the game has changed. It's not played the same. But it's just missing that element. You see a little bit of that killer instinct in Ant Edwards and Brunson and Halliburton. But it's just like, it's not. Yeah, it's just not the same. It's just not completely there.
Dude, I didn't talk to my best friend, who's Timothy Watkins. The 2 times the Lakers and the Celtics played in the finals, we didn't talk. There was no casualness. It wasn't, hey, I'm coming to your house. Nope. I don't know you. I don't like you.
Yep.
The second game, like the second it was clinched, somebody got the phone call. And it was the phone call you didn't want because you'd hear Queen, "We Are the Champions" in the background. And it didn't matter what time that game ended. That's how the phone call went. And you had to deal with it. You had to eat crow for however long that was or however long he took.
And that's how it was. That's how it should be. That's how it was. And me and KG had our battles between when I was rooting for the Red Sox, and of course he's a diehard Yankee fan. Get that call, be like, "Hey, screw you. I know where you live. I'll be over for dinner tomorrow."
Yeah, exactly. It's that cartoon.
Well, except for that one time. That one time.
Oh, he's talking about 2004.
When Aaron Boone hit that walk-off against Boston.
Oh.
Yeah, don't call me no more. Don't you ever call me.
I called him on the phone, and that was late at night. It was going into the morning. And I called him on the phone. And I talked so much shit. He didn't talk to me for 3 days. My mother threatened to put me out because I was so loud. She told me I had to go live with my godmother if I didn't shut the hell up because she was trying to sleep. But I was amped, and BJ didn't talk to me for 3 days after that. Didn't come by the house, wouldn't answer the phone.
Damn.
Jack,
he was hurt.
Yeah.
You got to talk about it. You're Jack v. Jack. Jack Wagner versus Jack Carr, Lakers, Celtics. Like, how did that relationship go when they played in the finals?
It wasn't that cutthroat, man. I mean, I knew my squad was better, and he knew his squad was better. So he was never cutthroat. Yeah, I'm serious. He liked Georgetown. I like Duke. He liked the Lakers. I like the Celtics. Let me think. Everywhere else. Oh, he likes the Cowboys. I like the Washington. So, no, we never really got nasty.
It's not nasty. It's friendship.
No, it's friendship, but I'm saying we never got at each other's throats over it. And then, as far as him being a Cowboys fan, hell, he's got us over the barrel anyway. We got to beat them for 10 years straight to get a hand up on them. Lakers, Celtics, I think it was just appreciation of 2 winning franchises. Because, I know I'm not supposed to like the Lakers, but damn, it was nice watching Showtime Lakers. I ain't going to lie. And it's like, I don't like the Yankees, but damn, it's nice watching Aaron Judge and, Chaz Chisholm out there. A bunch of ball players over there I like to watch play. But, I think Jack can concur. that it was competitive, but we never went too deep. He didn't have to not call me or don't come over anymore.
Nah, dog. I don't
None
want to
of
see
that.
you. You are the enemy. You
Yeah,
mean
nah.
you are the dark side. You are if I'm Luke Skywalker, you're Darth Vader. Like if because I gotta be if I'm Thanos, you gotta be the Avengers. I don't know. I want no parts of you during the series that we're playing.
Yeah,
Even my
but
nephew,
y'all,
Aaron, he's a Nuggets fan. We don't talk when those two when the Lakers play the Nuggets. We don't talk until the end of the series, and it's just the way we do it. And it's just because I don't need to hear all you see. I think Maddie and Jeff on the drive time talked about this because they told themselves they wouldn't send like certain messages during the series, and I think that's what we avoid. Like I don't want you to be like, oh, you guys are gonna win this game and like give up, and I don't need that. I just don't want to talk to you. I'll talk to you at the end. I'm gonna collect my trash talk, and then at the end of it, you're gonna get it, or I'm gonna get whatever happens. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
My nephew called me when the Nuggets took out the Lakers the last 2 years, and I had to deal with it.
But you talking about people calling you or you don't see them for a little while. Me and Jack seen each other every day. We lived across the street from each other growing up. So
Okay.
I think that's how we didn't get a feud over the Celtic Laker thing. We kind of just appreciated the rivalry.
I got
I
you.
know it sounds strange saying that, but I seen Jack every day from since he was 11 years old. So I just don't know. I think it was more of a brother thing, and he liked the opposite team. I mean, of course, I didn't root for no damn Lakers, but I enjoyed watching them play back in their heyday.
I think it's just like I know we got to move on, fellas, but I think it's just a maturation of your sports fandom, because I think I'm still at the point where like if a tornado took out Cameron Indoor Stadium with nobody in it, I don't want anybody to get hurt, but I would just like to see a tornado lift Cameron Indoor Stadium to Mars and just drop it intact at Mars and let it stay
We
there.
don't even play y'all
And
no
then,
more.
but then the thing, and I still, and it doesn't matter. This is a lifelong hate. Then y'all have to
Oh,
call
jeez.
Elon Musk. Y'all call Elon Musk and SpaceX, and y'all will have to arrange to play y'all games on Mars. Okay, that is how deep. That is how deep my rooted hatred for Duke is. Like if Duke was the local phone carrier here, I would pay somebody in India to talk, and I just had to pay a $1,200 phone bill. That's I
You know
would
you missed the rivalry.
I,
You
I
know
do
you
I do
missed that
miss it.
It was
rivalry.
never.
No, I do miss it because
Hold on.
I do
What are we
miss it.
doing here? It was never a rivalry. It was just 3 hot summers.
Exactly, and that's what exactly. I missed the opportunity to spoil Duke's plans, to drop them down in the rankings, to take them out of what they thought they were. Because like I always say, the Maryland wins were them giving 150% gritty. They didn't have the talent Duke had. You know what I'm saying? So when they won those games, them games meant something. Rivalry, no. But it was a that occasional thorn in the Blue Devil side that you had to deal with the Terrapins, and that's why that what is it 2002 national championship means a whole bunch to me. And that's grit, that's grind, that's work, that's losing to Duke, heartbreaking. The Jay Williams at College Park last second crap, all that, and that national championship put a bow on that. That's all I gotta say about that. I'm gonna hang up and let y'all talk.
Nah, this is. I love the antithesis of this conversation because it's born out of just what we do. Like we all have we as a group haven't gotten to a point where our rivalries have crossed paths. You know what I'm saying? Outside of me and Jack with Duke and Carolina, um, but we don't really have that rivalry section in our fandom right now. But when we get there, trust me, it's gonna be different. And I'm gonna jump to this J Dub um, post. J Dub says, "Always just competitive love. That's my homie. I'm way back. from way back. Facts. Love always, JC. But don't get me wrong. I don't dislike my friend. Well, actually, no, I do. I dislike my friends when my team plays their team. Like, it's personal. It really is. I don't have no other way to explain it. It's personal. We gotta win, and I don't care to talk to you if we lose. But I know I gotta talk to you, and then our friendship picks up like 2 days later after you're done celebrating, and I'm done being bitter. We still friends, and it won't ever change our friendship. Dude, I took who was it? The Lakers lost to the Pistons in, what was that, 2005? I took that series so personal. And I don't even know a Pistons fan at the time. But when we lost to them, I took that so personal. Like, I went on like this work, like I worked out like I had to avenge Kobe and like I was the Laker, and I had to get myself in shape to avenge that loss and get better for next season. So you can tell the kind of psychotic I am.
Fellas, I know we didn't hijack this giving Jokovic his flowers, and I know we got to move on to the next topic.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, where we gonna go next? Let's go MLB. And Midnight Rider, I throw it to you. You got the Harry Stamper report. Now explain to everybody what the Harry Stamper report is.
All right, so if you don't remember, there was a movie back in the I guess it was the 90s, Armageddon, where they had to get this oil driller. His name was Harry Stamper, and they had to drill down into this asteroid to destroy it with a bomb. So this is our version of drilling down deep into a topic. So we call it the Harry Stamper report in respect and love for the movie Armageddon. So I'm gonna give you a quick breakdown of the O's offense and the O's defense. And there's a scary number in this collection of numbers that I'm gonna give you. And I'll give you the hint now. I'll tell you now what that scary part is. There's only 1 point in this report where the O's are ranked in the top 10 of any category. I'll say it again. There's only 1 point in this whole thing. And I only got 10 points or 11 points that I'm going to give you. So the Orioles team batting average is 236. Major League Baseball's average, or the batting average across the board, is 240. So they're under that. And it also makes them 22nd in all of Major League Baseball. They average 0.73 ground balls or grounded into double plays. So that means they're not getting a double play every game, but they're close to it. But the problem is they're 24th in that category. They average 3.8 runs per game, which is 25th in baseball. They average 7.9 hits per game, which is 22nd in baseball. Here's their highlight. They average 1.14 home runs per game, which is 10th in baseball. But the problem is, here's the scarier number. They average 9.0 strikeouts per game, which puts them 27th in baseball. So if you think about it on a holistic standpoint, out of those 27 outs you get, they're giving up 9 of them via the strikeout. So there's only 18 other outs that they're getting based off of a ball being put in play. That's a third. That's scary. What they allow, this is a defensive perspective for them. They allow 5.86 runs per game, which is 29th in baseball. So if you look at it like this, if they only score 3.8 and they give up 5.8, they lose in this scenario. They give up 9.56 hits per game. So that means they're getting out hit every ball game, and they're 29th in that category. They allow 1.61 home runs per game, which is last in baseball. So that offsets that 1.14 that they get because they give out 1.6. Batting average. Again, we say the Mendoza line or the bare point of the major league minimum is 240. Well, they allow teams to hit 279. And I think that was either 29th or 30th in baseball. Their earned run average is 5.67. And I know earlier I said they give up 5.86. So if they give up 5.86, but they give up 5.67 earned runs, that means they're giving up runs without errors. The errors they give up are mental errors, not physical errors. And for me, that's something that I think is a case for why this team is struggling. They're struggling because they just can't score, they can't hit, they can't get right. You can't average under 4 runs but give up almost 6. That's why you're in the situation you're in. It's why you're scoring what you're scoring right now. And I think it's going to be a long year for Baltimore because of the way these numbers look. Jack, if you got anything, throw it at it, man.
No, that's that all makes sense. It goes to show what we've been saying all along. I mean, they're not hitting the ball, but they're definitely not pitching well. They split a doubleheader yesterday with Boston. I thought they should have got both of them, but
They were up late in the first one.
I know
the one with the torrential rain and they had to put the dry mix on the field. They were up 5-2.
They lost 6-5.
Yeah,
they just can't hold it. I mean, first of all, Eflin shit the bed with 5 hits and 4 runs in 5 innings. He's giving up a lot of runs. In the first game, I'm sorry. In the second game, I thought Rogers pitched well. He put goose eggs up there. And Dominguez pitched well. He tried to give it to him, though, in the 9th. Dominguez did, but he ended up closing them down and holding on for the 2-1 victory in game 2. But, yeah, Orioles need a case of get right, not a can of get right. They need a case because it's getting too late to be 17 games back. So I don't know. It's very much a disappointment after the past 2 years we've had in Baltimore, but I don't feel the front office made any effort to improve this team in the off season. So what do we expect?
I'm sorry.
I was about to say, when you take and chew bubble gum and put it on a leaf, it'll hold for a second. But if you're not going to spend your money, and I'll just talk about the bullpen. You're not going to spend some money and get what you need. Not counting mental errors and the bats, but we've seen this in all different sports. And it's kind of sad to see the drop from, like Jack said, what we've seen the last 2 years from the Orioles to now, because those last 2 years were your stepping stone to fight with the Yankees for the AL East and to go get a title. You'll get a pennant. That was it. And now you're 17 games back. Like that math ain't mathing. So of course, the manager takes the fall, but the axe has to start going to the front office for the Orioles. It just does, and because this is not going to fix itself. And you wonder how many guys have checked out already because they're 17 down. What's next for the Orioles? I don't know, but this is kind of sad to see. I was looking forward to them, being a contender in the AL, and they just fell out of contention and kind of scratching their butt and trying to figure out what's going on.
I agree and disagree with you on certain points, but I'll wrap it up this way. I think they're pitching. I think they thought they were good but they didn't give enough depth to the pitching staff, and now it's blowing up in their face. I thought the Corbin Burns move last year was a good move, but the problem was you brought in a guy that for 1 year on a 1 year rental, and that rental he was never going to stay long term. I don't care what the money was. He wanted to get back to the West Coast. And instead of replacing him, you kind of let you went with Grayson Rodriguez as his replacement. And of course the kid's hurt now. So I think you just didn't layer enough talent in your pitching staff to make things right. In terms of hitters, I think the Brandon Hyde mistake was Jack's a baseball player, so you understand routine. Like as baseball players, our routine means everything to us. And knowing where we're going to be and how we're going to be is a big thing. And I think the way they tried to manage these young players, where some of these guys can play multiple positions, and the fact that they moved the guys around and didn't, I say, identify roles for everybody and make them plain and clear, is why this ball club is struggling. You know, and you got a lot of guys that are the same. They're like quality parts. You got a bunch of guys that can play second, that can play third, that can play short, and that's your problem. You know, you got Jackson Holiday, Gunnar Henderson. These are guys that both can play shortstop and third base. So you got to start committing. And maybe that's the thing. I think maybe the O's weren't either crazy in love with the guys they picked up in terms of dictating their positions, or maybe they didn't put a ring on it. And I think that's the problem with their thing is, like, as a baseball player, you want to go to the stadium knowing that, all right, I got third base tonight. Or all right, I got second base tonight. But because they didn't do that, I think that's their problem with the Orioles. That's their issue. I know when I walk in the stadium, I come in the underpass. We don't do the red carpet because we ain't the WNBA or the NBA. But I get in the dugout. I know I'm playing second base. I'm hitting third in the lineup. Like those are things that as baseball players we like. We don't care. We don't want the fluff. We don't want the exchanges. We want to know what we are and who we are.
Well,
and I think that's Baltimore's biggest problem.
Let me say something. And this is something me and the boss BJ talked about offline. We talked about it privately. And he said, I don't know how much longer the GM is going to be around. You fired the manager, but how long is the GM going to be around and the assistant GM? You know, how long are they going to be around? Because this can't happen. You can't keep putting the same product on the field. We had high expectations for the Orioles this year as a group. That was number one.
But this is also their first year not living up to expectations. So you can't also like ditch a guy because expectations aren't being met. Because you also have a problem where some of your young stars aren't living up to their thing. Adley Rutschman, who I believe is the best catcher in baseball, is not playing like the best catcher in baseball.
Well, I think it's a lot of confusion. And one of you guys alluded to it a little while ago about them not knowing what they're doing. I think the term that you would use there is they don't know if they're scratching their clock or winding their ass.
I ain't never heard
I think that's pretty much what they are. So, but can it be fixed? Yeah. We've seen miracles happen in the second half of the season. And I'm not saying that they're going to have a 69 Mets run with, you know, you're 17 games out now and all of a sudden they make a move and they win the World Series. I'm not going to go that far. But I think they get it together, but also to give them a little grace because they've been dealing with injuries as well. A lot of them.
Right.
So that's just my 2 cents.
I you know what? I'll give you a nickel for that comment. It's more than 2 cents.
Gave him a knuckle. Knuckle.
Jack, you got anything?
What, Orioles?
Yeah. You got anything else?
All right. No, sir.
BJ?
I think
No,
you're
I'm
good.
good. I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I'm sorry. I got to get 3,000 steps to get back to this. I'm sorry.
All right. We got the Nats Young Guns. And they got some young guns. They do. They got some real good young guns. Midnight Rider.
No, I threw this on late, so I apologize to the guys for springing this on you. But this last week, we've had two guys debut. We had Robert Hassel debut on, I want to say Wednesday, and then Daryl Lau debut on Thursday. And those are because Dylan Cruz is on the 10-day IL and Jacob Young is on the 10-day IL. And both guys in their debuts got their hit on their first at bat. Hassel went 2 for whatever and got a stolen base. And it's the first Nats player to have 2 hits and a stolen base in a debut. Lau comes out the next day. I know he gets his first hit. I can't remember if he went 1 or 2, had 1 or 2 hits in his debut, but he's another guy that comes in because the Nats are loaded in the outfield in terms of prospects. And what we're getting to, or the point we're at, is that this team is starting to get to a point where they have layers of talent on top of talent. And you're going to have to start making some decisions about this talent to either make yourself better and to be a better team overall. Because now your problem has been your bullpen. You kind of calm down the issues in your pen because some of your young arms have come up. Your Cole Henry, your Brandon Lloyds. What's the big guy that they drafted? Rutledge, Jackson Rutledge. These guys are taking the place of some of the guys you brought in as stopgaps, but now they're playing solid baseball and giving you solid innings. So I think the Nats are going to have a situation where when the other guys come back healthy, they got to figure out who's going to stay up and who's going to go back. And I think the person that's going to suffer the most is Josh Bell, because Josh Bell isn't giving you anything right now. And I think what's going to end up happening is they're going to have to say, hey, Josh, it's been real. Let him go and have your 4 best outfielders, whatever the 4 guys you think are your 4 best, and you rotate them throughout the week. And a guy becomes the DH, the other 3 play the outfield. And, whether Hassel's the DH on Monday, James Woods the DH on Tuesday, Cruz was the DH on Wednesday, but they got to put their best players out there because they're playing good ball right now. I think they've won 6, or they're 5 of the last 6.
7 out of 10 is what I saw.
Okay, so yeah, so I think that's where they're at right now. They can make a run right now. This is, we haven't hit Memorial Day yet, and I think for me, Memorial Day and the first part of June is when players play. Like, I'll never forget when I was a kid, my dad would look at me, and he had a softball team, and he had this picture. This dude's name was Charlie. He'd always say, "Is it June 1st yet?" I was like, "Nah." He's like, "When June 1st hit, it's gonna get real hot, and Charlie gonna let it fly." And I swear to goodness, Charlie, whatever his ERA was before June 1st, that post June 1st ERA was a total different number and was a lot lower. And there are guys that hit that way too. There's some guys right now, like I think Soto is one of those guys. Soto doesn't start really hitting till the weather gets warm. And that weather gets warm everywhere. And I think that's something that people don't think about. Go ahead.
He caught one last night.
Huh?
I say Soto caught one last night, but off the top of the wall, big shot. But you talk about the Nats making a run. I don't see them ever catching up with the Mets or the Phillies.
No, I don't mean that in that regard. I'm talking about them making a run to be respectable.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not. No. I'm not talking about them winning the division. I don't even know if they're gonna be able to be in the wild card race, but they make a run to be respectable.
I got you.
And it's funny you say that about when it warms up, because when it warms up, they always say the balls fly more, and pitching kind of gets a little tighter, but hitters hit and it carries more. And you go somewhere like Kansas City, of course, Colorado, but the ball is gonna fly out of the park at record paces when it gets warm. And I never understood that. But it's science. It's proven. It's in a book. So I guess it must be true.
It's the humidity in the air.
Yep. KG. Also, in the colder months, I'm not gonna say in the cold, but sometimes them boys get playing in 40 degrees. The pitcher's hands are dry. When it warms up a little bit, they got a little perspiration on their forearms. They can, get that grip right. And then the ball starts breaking more, and the thinner air, the ball starts flying more. So,
they ain't got to be Ed Harris and have baking soda and oil on their chest so they can get an extra.
Don't forget the Vagisil. Don't forget the Vagisil.
Yeah.
Oh, they caught that one cat with shit on it on the side of his jersey or side of his neck or something, man.
Yeah, I remember that.
He, because they was catching him on their hat. That was the old school spot, front or back of the hat. So then this dude just started doing this, and it looked normal, And then finally, that was crazy. Some of these boys would have got away with it if they didn't use too much of the substances. It was always noticed on the uniforms, you know what I'm saying? Damn, cheater. I mean, you got to be a little bit more slick.
But didn't they stop pitchers from licking their fingers too? Before they throw a pitch, you had to stop licking your fingers now?
No, the licking the fingers is okay.
Yeah, but I think you got to lick and wipe.
Yeah.
Something on your hip, something like that. You can't just spit in your hand or whatever. It's got to be wiped. But yeah, you can moisten your hand a little bit. I mean, that's safety in my opinion. You want a guy with no grip on the ball throwing it 100 miles an hour at you?
Exactly.
I'd let him use stick 'em or grip. But I guess to an extent that would give some a really bigger upper hand. Them guys with them big old hands gripping that ball like that, they can put a lot of velocity on it. So yeah, I guess using adhesive grip is not a good idea.
All right. I see you got something else in here, Midnight Rider, the rundown. What's that?
Oh no, go to the NHL first.
Okay, this right here had Maddie crashing out, and rightfully so.
He
talked about being choking dogs. Down 3-0. Panthers 6, Canes 2. Panthers lead 3-0. The Canes on the verge of being swept. Jack started off.
I always follow what Maddie says, and Maddie has, opened my eyes to the game of hockey much more in this past year. Something Maddie said really sticks to me is the Canes are over in the conference championship, and I want to say he said 0-16. Is that right, Midnight Rider?
They're in that neighborhood of being. I think they were 0 for their last 14 in the conference championship.
Wow, that's nuts. Can't get a win in the conference championship. But I tell you, the Panthers just smacked them in the mouth in the third quarter, said, look, this is our game. Here's 5 goals real quick. Boom, 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 boom. I mean,
I would have loved to see what that Panthers Capital series would have been, because I think, how we say styles make fights? I think the Canes were the wrong team for the Caps to face, and I think the Panthers are the wrong team for the Canes to fight, if that makes sense. But I think the Capitals would have made it more difficult on the Canes as opposed to I'm not the Canes. The Capitals would have made it more difficult on the Panthers than the Canes would. But the problem is that the Caps couldn't get through the Canes.
Yeah. I wish BJ was still here because he said something earlier in the show that I wanted to save for now. The Canes got Buffalo Bill syndrome. That's who's got Buffalo Bill syndrome. You want to talk about people losing in the championship? The Canes look like it from what I'm hearing from Matty Ice. So, man, I don't think Canes ain't coming out of this. They down 3-0. Yeah, move on to the next round. Move on to the Cup, Panthers.
Well, J-Dub says, get out the brooms. Canes are going home. Yeah, I just think they don't have a get right now.
Yeah,
There's
Jack's
no way
down
for
there in
them to
Cane
get back.
country.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Next up, you got the Oilers versus the Stars. This series is tied at 1 apiece. Oilers 3, Stars 0. What you got, Jack?
Well, I like the Oilers. Since the Caps was out, who was my Stanley Cup winner choice. After that, I went straight with Edmonton. That goalie Skinner was just lights out. He stopped what? I think he had 25 shots at him. Stopped all 25. Draisaitl and McDavid, they didn't even do any of the scoring. They had 1 assist each, but they was in the game working with their teammates, and I think Edmonton is the better team here. What is this series? Okay, 1-1 I see. All right, so Panthers are going to sweep the Canes, and the Oilers Stars might have a little 6-game series here, I think.
I think it's going 7. I really think it's going 7, and it's only because both of these teams are explosive. They score goals. They score in the 5-on-5. They score well in the special teams. And what I mean by special teams, I'm talking about your power play and your penalty kill.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams score well in all these situations. I just really think it's going to be the team that's the hottest or it stays hot. And yeah, I like exactly what you just did right there, Jack. It's like you gotta go through the microscope, baby.
Go for that 0. Skinner's gonna stop him.
I don't know, man.
He's a backstop.
This is gonna be a special series. This is gonna be something I think we talk about 10, 15 years from now as one of the better championship series. Uh-oh. I see Jack laughing. What we got in the comments?
My man Sam decided to show up.
Damn, what up, y'all? Missed that early show start yesterday.
Oh, I thought he said, damn, y'all up? That's what I thought he said.
Yeah, that early start yesterday was due to Saturday night's main event by a WWE event hijacking our time slot. So we went at 7 o'clock, myself and the People's Choice, Don Rodriguez. The Nubian Sumo was on special assignment, but we went in, talked a few things, and even got you ready for it. So hopefully if you go back and watch it and then watch Saturday night's main event on replay, you'll get the gist of it. And we even broke that down to how good that was going to be. So
cool. What's next?
You tell me. Either we can go to the rundown of what you eat.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. The rundown. What we got going on today? So the NBA, we got the Knicks versus the Pacers at 8 p.m. on TNT.
8 p.m.
In the NHL, you got the Stars versus the Oilers at 3 p.m. today.
Mm-hmm.
In the MLB, you got the Blue Jays versus the Rays at 1:40. You got the Royals versus the Twins at 2:10. You got the Astros versus the Mariners at 2:10. You got the White Sox versus the Rangers, 2:10. You got the Diamondbacks versus the Cardinals at 2:15. You got the Rockies versus the Yankees at 310. Phillies and the Athletics at 405. Angels versus Marlins at 407. Padres versus the Braves 410. Braves versus Dodgers versus the Mets at 7 p.m.
That's Sunday night game.
In the WNBA, we got the Sun versus the Dream at 3 p.m. We got the Sky versus the Sparks at 6 p.m. We got the Mystics versus the Mercury at 6, and the Aces versus the Storm at 6 p.m. We're not worried about the PGA. We're not worried about that. You got softball and all that stuff, but that's the rundown on the things that you're going to see today in terms of sports. Back to you, KG.
Well, comment real quick. Sam all said, "Go Pacers, go Dodgers." Stop it, Sam. Go Knicks. Next up, what y'all eating today?
That's a great question.
That's an excellent question.
We're gonna throw some shit on the grill, some sausages or something. We just gonna mingle around the neighborhood. There's a bunch of cookouts going up and down my place in the area. A couple of had a wedding last night. My boy John Hall across the creek. He had a big shindig, and that's all we do around here on the holidays. Just mosey around, cookout to cookout, hopefully.
We had a nice one last night. It was one of the fellas' birthdays, so they brought out the big grill. Cats cooked out last night. I decided not to be antisocial. So I sat out last night probably from about 7 to 9:30 maybe in the neighborhood, and Cats had some burgers on the grill. And today I think I bought some Johnsonville's, the Italian sausage. So I think I'm gonna do a couple Johnsonville's. Oh, damn, I gotta go get hot dog buns. All right, so no Johnsonville's because I don't feel like going to the store. All right, so we're gonna do burgers with some red onions because the red onions stunk up my car the other day. But yeah, I think I'll do some burgers with red onions, and then tonight I'll figure it out.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and go with some cold cuts today. I really would like steak and cheese from Jiffy's because I've been smelling it. And I'm like, yeah, I say that, but then if I do eat it, I'm gonna be mad as hell because it's not gonna be what I want at that time. So it's either that, or I might go down the street, give me a fish sandwich from Horse and Dickie's. Call it a day. See Big Mama in there. If she in there, I know the food gonna be good. It's gonna be on par. So
that's funny you said that because I always look for the lady. I need that lady that had that extra arm meat under her tricep. If that tricep is a little jiggly, yeah, the food gonna be good.
Sam said, he said hot links with spicy barbecue sauce on the white bread coleslaw and barbecue and hot sauce fries.
God dang, Sam, you gotta take I don't know how old you are, Sam, but you might have to take some shit for that. I mean, like that sounds like your ass gonna be on fire. You might have to do a man pond where you lace your underwear with some toilet paper because that fart ain't a fart, it's a shart. You in trouble.
Ooh, Lord. And he said, y'all give your thoughts on the New York firefighter Pacers fan incident. Wait.
Yeah, he talking about Hans Perez. He's a New York firefighter and a diehard Pacers fan. I've seen a little bit about it. He's getting heckled from all over the place. I mean, he's having a hard time in the city.
Is that the one that got the trash thrown at him? Or
didn't see that part.
All right, so this is no, there was a dude that was at the game, whatever the last game in New York was, and like they helped the fans helped with him so bad that they were literally throwing trash bags at him. But I think Pat McAfee after game 2. So I think this next game that's in Indiana, Pat McAfee decided to buy this guy a flight out and pay for his seats and pay for him to basically be in the hotel so he could watch the Pacers play in Indiana without any scrutiny.
Yeah, I think that might be it, Midnight Rider. I'm reading up on it a little bit, trying to do it quick. He's saying it was some experience. And
Yeah,
it does have a picture. It's got a picture of McAfee on one of the prints, so maybe you're right on that one.
All right, so fans, I guess whatever game it was, they literally were throwing trash at this guy in the Indiana jersey. They threw 2 bags of trash on him. They heckled him his whole way, I guess, leaving the building. And I know Pat McAfee got involved. Pat McAfee, when he saw the video, was like, hey, if you can get me in touch with this guy. And he decided to do something about it. So that's what the last I saw of it.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that. I saw the one where the guy got the trash thrown at him. I didn't know that was the same thing.
This is it. Yes, exactly it. Fans threw bags of trash at him, and the video went viral.
Okay.
And Halliburton has something to do with getting them with McAfee or getting them in touch. And he's getting flown out to Indiana for a game. And he's going to bring his wife to Indiana. He said he would not bring his wife to New York for the game. And I think that was a good choice. Not bringing his wife.
I like the fact that we pieced that together in that short period of time.
That's beautiful.
That's what it's all about. Journalistic skill.
J-Dub says it's a rainy day down here in the South. We're having Chinese tonight. That sounds good too. And Sam said, I'm your ages. We the same. Bro, I still have control of my body fluids and solids.
Yeah, but you eat that hot sauce or whatever you was talking about, Sam. Yeah. You gonna wish for younger days. That's all I'm saying.
And he said, that's the same guy, 1 versus 300. Halliburton hooked him up with game 4 VIP ticks. And he just walked away from the stadium that night to feel the energy, he said. He just walked by the stadium to feel the energy. Wow.
Hey.
Man.
So I guess we got to do something else now.
It's a big ticket.
So, time to wrap this thing up. We do have programming changes coming this week because of the holiday. So Drive Time will be heard on Tuesday at 5 p.m. instead of Monday. The Tuesday night flight will follow at 8 p.m. on Tuesday. Wednesday, Midnight Rider Jack, who y'all got in the passenger seat with y'all?
Oh, Wednesday night, 8 p.m., we're going to have football coach Derek Mason from Johns Hopkins University will be joining us in the passenger seat. I look forward to chopping it up with Coach. We may be having some changes coming in the passenger seat viewer days as well. I myself have got hit with a bunch of friends that helped me out, and then I ended up landing some people. And it's just with all the high school state championships going on, I do believe that we are going to come to you now Sunday and Wednesday evening, 8 p.m., just for a few weeks so we can get caught up.
You mean Monday?
I'm sorry, Monday and Wednesday evenings, 8 p.m., just till we get caught up. And like I say, I want to give some of these state championship coaches their flowers before, it gets too far past the date. A lot of championships were won this weekend. A lot of lacrosse championships were won last weekend. And I'm in touch with a lacrosse state championship coach right now and two football state championship coaches. And I got 2 baseball state championship coaches, which were won this weekend. So it's going to be a little bit of changing to the scheduling, but we will post it and everybody will be aware. Midnight Rider, you got anything to add to that?
No, I just want Tuesday to get his real name. It's 2 for Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? We're going to give you 2 shows for the price of 1. You know what I'm saying? You're getting the Drive Time. You're getting all your hockey knowledge. You're getting all your things from them. You get a little baseball from them as well, and then you come in, you take a little break. It's a double header for the Sideline Junkies, and then you get us at 8:00, the Tuesday night flight. Is Jack, myself, and the big guy KG, and we're gonna give you what we give you. We're not stepping on toes or nothing like that. It's just we're gonna give you a fun experience, some great sports, and this is the night you get to see us shine as a group or as a collective. So I don't know if Duval, Paul, and Scooter are gonna be on. Oh, and Showtime Sarah, if they're gonna be on with Matty Ice, but if they are, you get all of that from 5 to 7, and then you get all of this, and you gotta breathe it in because we are the excellence that is sports talk radio. So there you go.
Hey, I like that. I like that a lot. For me, hey man, I hope everybody has a good week. Enjoy your holiday, but while you're enjoying your holiday, you got to throw your flowers at Jack, because Jack Day is tomorrow, correct, Jack?
Jack Day is tomorrow, yes, sir.
Yeah, so you got to throw your flowers at Jack. So, on top of having a good weekend, we want Jack to have a great birthday.
It's your birthday. Go shorty. It's your birthday.
It just makes me another year older than you fools.
So look, you already know where you're gonna be able to find Jack at tomorrow. Find the nearest court. You're gonna see him coming down, going hee hee all day long.
Yeah. I'll be chilling like a villain, boy.
No, the good thing he's married, so he ain't gonna be out here looking for him a Shanae.
No Shanae.
I was gonna say something else, but I chose that one over the other.
Yeah, simmer down. Don't get started. Don't get started, Cookie.
All right, Cookie.
Sam said 2 for 1. That's like getting extra fries at the bottom of the bag, but them fries just as good, if not better. Yeah, hey, bag fries are great. Hey, the bottom of the bag fries be great. J Dub signing off. Always fries. Good, fellas. Always good to have you, J Dub. So, gentlemen, it's been a lovely one. Let's let these people go. Let's go get our Sunday started and enjoy ourselves. So, for the gentleman Jack, for the Midnight Rider, the boss BJ, who made his return today, I'm the big guy KG. Babe, we don't do no overtime. We are out of here.